Hare Krishna Prabhu, or can we start Prabhuji? Kaustubha Prabhu.
Yes, please. Yes.
Can you turn on the camera, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it is perfect. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate and glad to have the association of His Grace Kaustubha Ramanuja Prabhu, who will be actually sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 5, chapter number 17, sloka number 7 to 9. Prabhuji, over to you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, the seva of hearing and speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam every morning. A very nice forum to discuss the shlokas, the wonderful divine verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam in order. So today, as Prabhuji said, we'll be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, which is the topic of Sthanam, chapter number 17, text number 7 to 9. I'm just sharing my screen. Yeah, should be visible to everybody. So I'll just recite the verse. This is all in not in a regular meter, as you must be seeing every day. The verses of the 5th canto Srimad Bhagavatam are in one poetic format called Gadya, not in Padya. Padya all have definite meter, so we can sing in a beautiful manner. Gadya also we can sing, but this is a different form of Sanskrit poetry in which it is called as prose poetry in English. So it is like a paragraph, but there is poetry still within the paragraph also, which is very exclusive to the language of Sanskrit. So I'll just recite the verse, 7th, 8th, and 9th verses. 7th and 8th do not have purports. So 9th verse I will recite with the purport. I'll read the purport and then we will discuss. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17-7. Evam malyavachikaran nishpatanti tato nuparata vega ketumalam abhijakshuf pratichyam dishi saritpatim pravishati. So we will read the word to word meaning only for the 9th verse in the interest of time. The translation of this verse goes like this. The branch of the Ganges or the Ganga known as Chakshu falls onto the summit of Malyavan mountain and from there cascades into the land of Ketumala Varsha. The Ganges flows incessantly through Ketumala Varsha and in this way also reaches the ocean of salt water in the west. Yeah. So let us go to the next verse. The 8th verse goes like this. Bhadra Chottarato. Just a second. भद्राच्चोत्तरतो मेरुशिरसो निपतिता गिरिशिखराद् गिरिशिखरम् अतिहाय शृङ्गवतः शृङ्गाद् अवस्यन्दमाना उत्तरांस्तु कुरून् अभित उदीच्यां दिशि जलधिम् अभिप्रविशति. Translation: the branch of the Ganges or the Ganga known as Bhadra flows from the northern side of Mount Meru. Its waters fall onto the peaks of Kumuda mountain, Mount Nila, Shweta mountain and Shringavan mountain in succession. Then it runs down into the province of Kuru and after crossing through that land flows into the saltwater ocean in the north. So we will come to the 9th verse. This is a verse that we'll be discussing with the purport. So let us recite this verse. Tathaiva lakananda dakshinena brahma sadanat bahuni kirikutan yatikramya hemakutat dhaimakutan yatirabhasatara ramhasa lutayanti bharatam abhivarsham dakshinasyam dishi jaladhim abhipravishati यस्यां स्नानार्थं चागच्छतः पुंसः पदे पदे अश्वमेध राजसूयादीनां फलं न दुर्लभमिति. So the synonyms or the word to word meaning goes like this. Tatha eva, similarly, Alakananda, the branch known as Alakananda, Dakshinena, by the southern side, Brahma Sadanat, from the city known as Brahmapuri, Bahuni, many, Girikutani, the tops of mountains, Atikramya, crossing over, Hemakutat, from Hemakuta mountain, Haimakutani and Himakuta, Ati Rabhasatara, more fiercely, Ramhasa, with all sides, with great force, Lutayanti, plundering, Bharatam Abhivarsham, on all sides of Bharata Varsha, Dakshinasyam, in the southern, Dishi, direction, Jaladhim, the ocean of salt water, Abhipravishati, enters into, Yasyam, in which, Snana Artham, for bathing, Cha, and Agachataha, of one who is coming, Whom Saha, a person, Pade Pade, at every step, Ashwamedha, Rajasuya, Adinam, of great sacrifices like the Ashwamedha Yajna and Rajasuya Yajna. Phalam, the result, Na, not. Durlabham, very difficult to obtain. Iti, thus. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Similarly, the branch of the Ganges or the Ganga known as Alakananda flows from the southern side of Brahmapuri or Brahma Sadana. Passing over the tops of mountains in various lands, it falls down with fierce force upon the peaks of the mountains Hemakuta and Himakuta. After inundating the tops of those mountains, the Ganges falls down onto the tract of land known as Bharatavarsha, which she also inundates. Then the Ganges flows into the ocean of salt water in the south. Persons who come to bathe in this river are fortunate. It is not very difficult for them to achieve with every step the results of performing great sacrifices, like the Rajasuya and Ashwamedha Yajnas. Purport: the place where the Ganges or the Ganga flows into the salt water of the Bay of Bengal is still known as Ganga Sagar, or the meeting place of the Ganges or the Ganga and the Bay of Bengal. On Makara Sankranti, in the month of January, February, thousands of people still go there to bathe, hoping to be liberated. That they can actually be liberated in this way is confirmed herein. For those who bathe in the Ganges at any time, the results of great sacrifices like the Ashwamedha and Rajasuya Yajna are not at all difficult to achieve. Most people in India are still inclined to bathe in the Ganges or the Ganga, and there are many places where they can do so. At Prayag or Allahabad, Many thousands of people gather during the month of January to bathe in the confluence of the Ganges or the Ganga and the Yamuna. Afterwards, many of them go to the confluence of the Bay of Bengal and the Ganges or the Ganga to take part there. Thus, it is a special facility for all the people of India that they can bathe in the water of the Ganga at so many places of pilgrimage. Okay, so there's the last verse, 9th verse itself. So just a second. Let me just stop the screen share. Yeah. So this is a beautiful chapter that we have been discussing since a few days. This is entitled The Descent of Ganga into this world. It's a beautiful chapter which tells us the glories of Mother Ganga. I'm sure all of you must have already heard sufficient glories and the pastimes of Mother Ganga, how Mother Ganga was brought down by Bhagiratha, how she was called as Bhagirathi or as Jahnavi because sage Janu, he engulfed Mother Ganga into his stomach and then again released it on the order of Bhagiratha. All these are some stories, divine pastimes that we hear of Mother Ganga in many, many scriptures. The beauty of Mother Ganga is that almost every scripture that we know of talks about, in some way or the other, the pastimes of Mother Ganga. Be it the Itihasas like the Ramayana, there are many chapters dedicated to the descent of the Ganga river into this world in the Balakanda of Ramayana. When Rama and Lakshmana go with Vishwamitra Muni, at that time, Rama and Lakshman, they want to know about many things actually. And one of the divine pastimes that Vishwamitra relates is the descent of Mother Ganga. And Rama especially requests Vishwamitra to relate that in detail because he wants to hear every detail in association with Mother Ganga. In the Vishnu Purana also, which actually is very much in tandem with Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a similar description of the descent of Mother Ganga. And the same story of Bhagiratha is told in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam also. In the 9th canto, when the lineage of Lord Rama is described, there again the same story is told. And this chapter in the 5th canto is very special because this has the divine pastimes of Mother Ganga right from its origin. We have seen how in the formative verses of this chapter was described how Ganga is actually the Charana Tirtha, is actually the water that has washed the lotus feet of Vamanadev, which we have heard many times. But we have seen how Ganga actually holds such a very special place because it is actually the water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord himself. And that water, the path or the trajectory that it takes before coming down to this world, and how it goes not just to this loka, it goes to many other brahmandas and it goes to many other varshas. That is also described in this chapter. So that goes to show how Mother Ganga's position is very, very sacred. And her divine color is actually pink, as was explained in one of the verses previously, right? Because it contains the kunkuma, or that has washed the divine lotus feet of Vamanadev, and therefore her divine color, Mother Ganga's divine original color, is actually pink. But we hardly see her pink these days. Even if we see her pink, because it will be because of some other impurity and not because of her original color, right? But anyway, Ganga's position, Mother Ganga's position, still remains as very, very sacred. And we can see in our own life also, even before we came to Krishna consciousness, whatever pujas and whatever ceremonies we used to do at our own houses, it was never considered to be complete, or it was never considered to be even possible without Ganga Jala, right? Without Ganga Jala, no, even for example, Shraddha Karma is considered complete. For Shraddha Karma, two most important things that we have to start with, along with everything else, of course. First is Ganga Jala, second is Vishnu Pada, right? Ganga Jala is while performing the ceremony, and Vishnu Pada is after performing the ceremony. To Vishnu Pada is for offering everything, all the items that we have prepared first to Vishnu and then to the forefathers, right? That is how a Vaishnava Shraddha is performed. So the divine position of Ganga can never be overemphasized, because how much ever we try to speak on that, it is actually less. And therefore, every scripture has the divine glories discussed of Mother Ganga. Of course, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, our main river that we hold very sacred, more than even Ganga, is actually Yamuna. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explains this right in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that when Parikshit Maharaj actually sat on the bank of the Ganga, some of the acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they comment that actually it is the Yamuna. So even though the verse itself says Ganga, but they comment that it is actually the Yamuna, because Yamuna holds a very, very special place. Around 6 months ago, I had gone on a Char Dham Yatra along with my mother, actually. So there I went to Gangotri, I went to Yamunotri also. Gangotri is said to be the divine place of appearance of Ganga, but it's actually not Gangotri. It is much higher than Gangotri also. It is a place called Gomukh, which is hardly accessible to human beings today. But for all practical purposes, Gangotri is considered the divine place of appearance of Mother Ganga. So there, when I had gone to Yamunotri, I was talking to one of the pujaris. He was actually mentioning a very nice point in relation to Ganga and Yamuna. Of course, in relation to Kedarnath and Badrinath also, but especially in reference to Ganga and Yamuna. And he was saying that Yamuna is the river, or the personified Yamuna is she who gives us bhakti to Krishna, he was saying, or bhakti to Vishnu. And that we can very nicely correlate. As Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we can very easily correlate with this, right? Because our divine deity of worship is Krishna, and Krishna always lived on the bank of the Yamuna, right? In Vrindavan and in Mathura. So therefore, Yamuna holds a very, very sacred place for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But we cannot, dwindle the importance of Ganga in our lives also, because that Pujari was telling us that Ganga actually represents jnana on the path of devotional service, he was saying. Because, of course, there are many significances of Ganga. The most important significance that even outsiders know for sure is that she removes all the sinful reactions. She makes us pure. All that is, of course, there. But for Vaishnavas especially, what does Mother Ganga represent? She represents the element of jnana on the path of devotional service, which is actually very, very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradhari Krupambudhir Vatsa Tamaham Prapadye. He is described as the personality who gives us Vairagya and Vidya at the same time, right? And both are actually very important on the path of devotional service. None of them can be overemphasized. That means both are equally important. We can never say that I will advance on the path of devotional service without cultivating any knowledge which is in reference to the devotional service, right? Of course, this jnana doesn't refer to the jnana marga that Prabhupada highlights in his purports. That is completely different. But this jnana refers to the jnana within the path of devotional service, which is actually very important. There is one verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita which is very famous, which says that we should never be lazy in studying the Shastras, right? What is that? Na kare alas. Shastrera vidya na kare alas. Iha ite Krishna lage sudrida manas. I'm forgetting the beginning of that verse, but it says that we can never be lazy in studying the Shastras. And that Shastra Jnana, how does it come to us? It's not that simply I will study the Shastra Jnana and I will become realized in Shastras. No, because the more we study the Shastras, the faster that the Jnana that we have inherited may evaporate from our heads also, if we don't have that mercy, right? And that mercy, and that the divine mercy of Krishna Many acharyas, they explain that Mother Ganga is representative of that divine mercy which enables us to have that Shastra Jnana. Of course, this kind of this may be thank you very much. Siddhanta Balite na kare alas. Iha ite Krishna lage sudrudha manas. Thank you very much, Mataji. So that I was saying that this is a kind of a new concept for us, maybe. And even after coming back, I tried to find Shastra Pramana for this. I didn't get any particular Shastra Pramana that actually says that Mother Ganga is representative of knowledge. But there is nothing, nothing that we will lose by accepting Mother Ganga as a representative of knowledge within the path of devotion service. Of course, the same Pujari also told that Kedarnath, Shiva, he gives us Vairagya, and of course, Badrinath gives us moksha. He's finally gives us moksha. But Ganga is representative of knowledge, he was saying. And we can see throughout our scriptures, be it the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, which we hold very sacred. These two scriptures we hold very sacred to us, right? Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We see in these two scriptures also how Ganga's position is emphasized, not overemphasized, but it's emphasized. Just like in the 10th chapter of the Krishna, in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says about Mother Ganga. In 10:31, he says, Srotasam asmi Janavi, he says. That means, of all water bodies that are flowing, I am Janavi. Janavi means Mother Ganga. Just give me a second. Just a second. Yeah. So he says that I am Mother Ganga. Of all water bodies that flow, I am Mother Ganga. Just a second. I'm just I'm sorry. I had to reorient my mobile phone. Okay, so Krishna says that I am Janavi. Janavi means one who came out of the mouth of Janu river, who is the Janu Muni, who is the river Ganga. Pavana Pavatamasmi Ramah Shastrabhritamaham Jashanam Makarashtasmi Srotasamasmi Janavi. I am the wind god. Pavanaha Pavatamasmi, of everything that blows. I am the wind god. Ramah Shastrabhritamaham, of everybody that wield arrows. Shastra Bhritam, I am Rama or Kodanda Rama, the Rama of Ramayana. Jashana Makarashtasmi, of all types of fish, I am the shark. And finally, Srotasamasmi Janavi, I am Mother Ganga of all bodies, of all water bodies that flow. So Krishna is saying that, I am Mother Ganga of all water bodies that flow. That means actually giving a very, very important position to Mother Ganga. In the Bhagavatam, we see that Mother Ganga is used as a metaphor in many, many verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. All of you are well aware, all of you are very well read in the Shastras, so you must have seen that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, every now and then we see references to Mother Ganga in the form of a metaphor or a simile, right? Right from the teachings of Queen Kunti, where there is a famous verse that she says in reference to Mother Ganga. This almost comes towards the end of her prayers to Krishna. She says, Tvayi me nanya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit ratim udvata daddha gange vaugham udanvati. In which she is actually saying that let my mind be constantly drawn unto you, just like the river Ganga, which ever constantly flows towards the sea without any interruptions. So this is actually a very beautiful verse in which Mother Kunti is actually comparing her mind to Ganga, right? So Kunti can do that,
Hare
of
Krishna,
course.
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. I think your video has stopped, Prabhuji.
Oh, yes, my video stopped. Huh? Okay, just a second. Okay, now?
It's okay, Prabhu. Yes.
Now it's visible? Video is visible?
Yes, Prabhuji. It is visible, Prabhu.
Oh,
thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry to interrupt.
Not an issue, not an issue. So I was saying that this is one of the verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam in which Queen Kunti is very beautifully comparing her mind to Mother Ganga. She says that let my mind be drawn towards you, and constantly, just as the Ganga flows towards the ocean. And in reference to this, there has been so much of commentary that has been given that Mother Ganga, in spite of so many obstacles that she faces, she actually never stops, and finally she reaches the ocean in Bay of Bengal. Right? And in this verse, Kunti is addressing Krishna with a particular word called Madhupati. Madhupate Asakrit. So Asakrit means continuously, and Madhupati. Madhu actually means in Sanskrit or in many Indian languages also, it means honey, right? So just like when we want to pour honey from one bottle to a cup or something like that, we see that there's a continuous stream of that honey. Srila Ramanujacharya actually talks about this as this is one of the characteristics of dhyana, he says. Of course, he explains three characteristics, and one of these, which actually Prabhupada also repeats in many of his purports, is called Taila Dharavat Avichinna Smriti Santana Visheshaha, he says. Taila is actually oil. Just like if you pour oil from one container to another, there is a continuous stream of that oil. Similarly, with honey also, there is a continuous stream of honey from that container, and actually we need to stop with our hands, right? We have experienced that when you are pouring honey from one container to a cup or something, we need an external force to stop that. We cannot we cannot suddenly stop that, right? That flow. It still sticks to the container on the outside or something like that. So similarly, our attention should be drawn towards Krishna in such a manner. It shouldn't be like water which flows from one container to another container. Pouring water from one container to another is very easy, because as soon as you stop the flow, the water also stops its flow. But honey or oil is not like that, right? So such should be our meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how it is explained in the Shastras, right? And therefore, Kunti is using that particular word to address Krishna. So in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scripture, even the words that have been used to address the personalities are very, very important. They hold a reference with respect to the context that is being discussed over there. Therefore, we see that in this verse, Kunti, very beautifully, she's saying that let my mind be constantly drawn towards you in spite of all obstacles. In fact, she actually welcomes obstacles, and she sees obstacles also as stepping stones to Krishna. Right? So that is the consciousness of a pure devotee, we can see. And there is another verse. I'm sorry, I may go out of video for a few seconds again. I need to refer this, so I'll come back. So in the same first canto, in the 19th chapter, when Parikshit Maharaj has assembled with all the sages, with all the other sages on the bank of the Ganga, he says a very important verse. He says, Tam mopayatam pratiyantu vipra Ganga cha devi dhritachittamishe Vijopasrishta kuhakastakshako va dashatvalam gayata Vishnu gatha. It's a very beautiful verse in which he's saying, Tamma upayatam pratiyantu vipra. So all Vipra is addressing all the assembly as, O Brahmanas. So please do accept me as a completely surrendered soul. And Ganga cha Devi Dhrita Chitta Mishe. And like similarly as you accept, let Mother Ganga also accept me as a surrendered soul. Dvijopasrishtaha kuhakaha takshakova. That the curse that this Brahmana, this young Brahmana called Shringi has given, let it fall upon me. I don't have any tension about it at all. I'm not thinking about it at all. Dashatu alam gayata Vishnu gathaha. So if you continue to sing Vishnu gatha or sing in praise of Vishnu to me, I'm not even bothered about all the about this takshaka which is supposed to come, the snake bird called takshaka who is supposed to come and bite me or strike me. I'm not even bothered about it. I'm just wanting that you continue to sing Vishnu Gatha. So even there we see that he's actually sat on the bank of the Ganga, and he's actually wanting even Mother Ganga to accept him as a surrendered soul, and he sees Mother Ganga to be helping him in advancement on the path of devotional service. and he sees Mother Ganga as a stepping stone towards his meeting Shukadeva Goswami, right? So great souls, great devotees like Parikshit Maharaj, they never saw anything with simply the external point of view. And they never saw Ganga to be just a river. They saw Mother Ganga as a divine personality, right? So we have seen in many pastimes of the Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam, we see the divine presence of Mother Ganga, and she is actually epitomized in many verses, right? So similarly, when we go to the third canto, 20th chapter, third canto, 20th chapter is where the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura is going on. And there, the sages of Naimisharanya, they request Suta Goswami that right now we heard some glories of this conversation between Shukadeva Goswami, Maitreya and Vidura. Right? So we want to continue hearing it. So they say, Tayoho Samvadatoho Suta, Pravritta Hyamalah Kataha, Apo Ganga Ivaghagneer, Harehe Padambujashrayaha. So this divine conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, it is so pure. It is Amala Katha. It is completely pure. Apo Ganga Iva Gagnihi. And they gave this metaphor in reference to Mother Ganga. Apaha Ganga Iva Aghagnihi. Agha means sinful reaction. Aghagnihi means that which destroys the sinful reaction. So just like Mother Ganga is known to destroy all the sinful reactions. And similarly, the purport that we just read from the fifth canto also is talking about the same, that Mother Ganga actually has the potency of destroying sinful reactions. So similarly, please do recite, please do tell us about this divine conversation, because that has the equal potency of destroying our sinful reactions. That's how the sages of Naimisharanya, they request Suta Goswami. So when we hear this verse, we can actually see that Ganga is actually given a very special place, right? So many verses in the Bhagavatam in which Mother Ganga is used as a metaphor. So similarly, we go ahead, we just see one or two verses more. In the third canto, 29th chapter, this is where Kapila Dev is describing the characteristics of pure devotional service to Mother Devahuti. Of course, he describes devotional service in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, and finally he says what is pure devotional service. So these two verses that he describes in 11 and 12, these two verses of the 29th chapter of the third canto are actually akin to the definition of pure devotional service that Rupa Goswami has given. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavratam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. So similarly here, Kapila Dev says, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogati Ravichinna Yatha Gangam Bhasom Budau Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Hyudahritam Ahaituki Avyavahita Ya Bhakti Purushottame. So Madguna Shruti Matrena. So he says that just as the water of the Ganges or the Ganga flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotion, such pure devotional service should be uninterrupted by any material condition. Ahaituki avyavahita yatha gangambhasaha ambudhau. Just like Ganga flows continuously towards the ocean, so similarly, in spite of any obstacles, ahaituki and apratihata or avyavahita, it cannot be, devotional service cannot be stopped. So this is the divine position of Mother Ganga. Even in the 12th canto, which is there is a very special chapter called the Glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is this chapter called Glories of Srimad Bhagavatam within the Bhagavatam only. There it is explained what is the position of Srimad Bhagavatam also in reference to Mother Ganga, which is a very famous verse. I'm sure all of you must have heard this verse. It says, Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga, Devanam Achyuto Yatha, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhuhu, Purananam Idam Tatha. Just as out of all water bodies that flow towards the ocean, Ganga is considered to be extremely sacred. Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga, Devana Machyuto Yatha. Out of all the demigods and of all the Vishnu Tattva also, Krishna is considered to be the supreme, is considered to be the topmost. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhuhu. Of all Vaishnavas, Shambhu or Shiva is considered to be the topmost Vaishnava. So similarly, Purananam idam tatha. Out of all the 18 Puranas, Bhagavatam is considered the supreme. So even there we see Bhagavatam being compared to Mother Ganga, right? So Ganga is considered to be extremely sacred to all Vaishnavas as well, right? So Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as I was saying, Yamuna is certainly more sacred, but we cannot downplay the position of Mother Ganga. Mother Ganga still holds a very special place. Every morning when we touch the water for purification, we recite the verse Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. We invite all the divine personalities that represent these seven rivers, the personifications of these seven rivers, to reside in the water in which we are doing achaman, right? So even amongst those seven rivers, the first river that we take, the name of the first river that we take is Ganga. Then comes Yamuna, right? So both of these rivers, Ganga and Yamuna, hold very, very special place for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. In fact, we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the place where he he made his appearance, there was the Ganga, right? In Navadvip, there is Ganga. And the place that he revered the most is Vrindavan, where there is the Yamuna flowing. There is no Ganga, but there is the Yamuna, right? But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna, it is explained that the Ganga of Navadvip is different from the Ganga that flows anywhere else. So the Ganga of Navadvip is equivalent to Yamuna, it is explained, right? So when we are in Mayapur, when we are in Navadvip, we see Ganga on an equal platform as Yamuna. And because for all Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the place that they revere the most is Navadvip and of course Vrindavan, but especially Navadvip or Mayapur. So therefore they can see Ganga as Yamuna. There is no problem in seeing Mother Ganga as Mother Yamuna. And in fact, many places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes, for example, Varanasi or Prayagraj, there is the Ganga flowing. And in Prayagraj, there is the Ganga as well as Yamuna flowing. Varanasi, there is the Ganga flowing. Mahaprabhu spent considerable time in Varanasi when he was instructing Sanatana Goswami, right? In Prayagraj, Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami at Dashashwamedha Ghat for 10 days. And for 2 months, Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi. And therefore, Mother Ganga, who is flowing in Varanasi, is actually very, very special, right? So even from that perspective, we can see that Ganga actually holds a very divine place in our hearts. Yeah. So the other day I was listening, not the other day as in many years ago, when I was listening to this wonderful short clip in which His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj explains about the lessons that he learned from Mother Ganga. I think many of you might have also heard, but I just like to repeat them because they are very wonderful lessons that can only come to a divine Vaishnava, right? So His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj explains that in 1970, when he was hitchhiking in India, he had come to India. That time he went and sat on a rock in I think Haridwar or Rishikesh or somewhere, Rishikesh I think. So amidst the river, he was actually swimming, and then he just took some time out and he sat on a rock, and that rock inspired him so much that he actually sat there for 1 month continuously from morning till night, right? So morning till evening he used to sit on the rock and simply meditate, and that is the rock on which he heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra also, he says. So he actually says 3 important lessons that he learned from Mother Ganga. So as he was sitting on the rock and he was observing the flow of Mother Ganga, he was actually saying that, the flow was so beautiful to observe. The ripples and the swirls that were coming on the surface of Mother Ganga, it was actually so artistic. And he was saying that no art form can actually depict the beauty that Mother Ganga is creating with even one wave of hers. So initially, when I heard this, I actually thought that this must be a little exaggeration. Of course, I committed a mental offense. I thought that this must be some exaggeration. But recently, just 6 months ago, when I had gone to Gangotri, I actually could see the beauty of Mother Ganga. In fact, even before reaching the Ganga Mandir there in Gangotri, when we go through the mountains, because it's high in the Himalayas, right? It's actually quite a dangerous tariff also, dangerous cliff also. So as we were climbing, we could see the divine descent of Mother Ganga, and there were some places where Ganga had formed kind of a pool, and that pool was so beautiful to look at. And every ripple that Mother Ganga was creating in the flow was so beautiful. And in Gangotri especially, of course, the water that is there in the Gangotri is especially very, very cold. It's very difficult for anybody to take bath over there. Still, many yatris take bath. I didn't take a bath, but I was just sitting on the bank and I was observing. And it was so beautiful. And it comes with very great force. That also we can relate to. That that why did Bhagirata request Lord Shiva to do the dharana, to hold Mother Ganga on his head? That we can relate when we see the force with which the Mother Ganga flows in Gangotri. So as I was observing, it was actually so beautiful to see. And he says that it was actually beautiful. Radhanath Maharaj says that it is actually very beautiful, but in a flash of a moment, it used to disappear. That also I could relate to actually, because I could see a divine kind of many different forms that Mother Ganga is coming up with every wave of hers, but at the next moment it is gone completely. So similarly, Radhanath Maharaj says that this world is like that. Many things appear to be very beautiful, but within a flash of a second or within a span of time, all that beauty is gone. All that beauty is gone, and we have to face the harsh reality of this world. Of course, this is a kind of a lesson that he draws from this apparent beauty that one sees just by observing the outside, right? So this is one lesson that he draws. But the same Radhanath Maharaj also says that when one goes a little deeper into the Ganga, because he actually swam in the Ganga. I don't know how people actually swim in the Ganga because it's so cold. It is much colder than the ice water that we have got accustomed to, I can say. So cold, it's very extreme cold. So he actually swam in the divine waters of the Ganga in great depth also. So therefore, he says that one who goes deep into the waters of the Ganga, he can see that actually deep inside, everything is quite stable. All the ripples and the swirls that are there only on the outside, on the surface, not deep inside. So similarly, he says that if we can go deep into our consciousness, then we can actually remain stable in our spiritual lives. All the ripples and the swirls that come in our path of devotional service, in our path back to Krishna, they only appear and they continue to appear as long as we are not deep enough in our practice of Krishna consciousness. And when we go deep into our practice, we don't even see them as obstacles. Just like Queen Kunti says that the obstacles that are come on my path, vipadaha santu taha shashvat tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunarbhava darshanam. Beautiful verse in which she says that all obstacles I welcome them because they are like the opening doors for me to see you. If I don't get these problems in my life, then I will forget you, right? So those who go deep into Krishna consciousness, they can actually see all obstacles also as stepping stones or as opening doors to Krishna, right? That is another lesson that he draws. And the third lesson he draws is that as I was swimming in the waters of Ganga, I was faced with many obstacles. I used to see many dead bodies in Ganga. Even today, if you go to Varanasi, you go to Manikarnika Ghat. That is a place where they generally burn the bodies. Or in sometimes they may just float it away also. They may just float the dead bodies away also over there. And therefore, he says that sometimes when I used to swim in the Ganga, I used to even observe dead bodies and I used to get very scared. And I used to see some clothes and everything used to be there. But when I used to sit on the bank of the Ganga and I used to observe, when I used to sit on that rock and I used to observe Mother Ganga, I could very clearly see, observe everything. I could see things in their proper perspective, he says. So similarly, he says that we will get troubled by the ripples and the swirls that come in our mind as long as we identify with our own minds and with our intelligence, right? The impure mind and the impure intelligence, they do give us many problems as long as we identify with them. But if we go deep and we see the mind and the intelligence from a third person's perspective. We see the mind and intelligence from a neutral point of view. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, there are many verses in which Krishna talks about himself in the third person. Ishvara sarva bhutanam vriddeshe arjuna tishtati. Ishvara, although he himself is Ishvara, is talking about himself in the third person. So, if we can develop this capability of seeing mind and the intelligence from a third person's point of view, and we don't identify ourselves with this world at all, we identify ourselves as the true constitutional servants of Krishna, then these ripples and swirls that come in our lives, they don't any longer bother us. And of course, the most famous lesson that he draws, most important lesson that he draws, which we already discussed, is that which Queen Kunti talks about, right? That let my mind be drawn towards you without getting diverted towards anybody else. And that is actually very, very important. So we should pray to Mother Ganga, if possible, every day, that let us remain stable on this path of devotional service in spite of all obstacles that come in our day-to-day lives. So many obstacles keep bothering us, family problems, financial problems, or health-related problems. All these problems keep coming to us. But if there is one thing that we should pray to Mother Ganga in reference to pure devotional service, then it should be this, that let my path towards Krishna be the way in which your path towards the ocean is, uninterrupted and unconditional. Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Famous verse, savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. Let my mind be drawn towards adhokshaja uninterruptedly, just as your flow towards the ocean is uninterrupted. This is one divine prayer that we can make. Because Vaishnavas don't simply see Ganga as a sin purifying machine. This may be a little harsh to say like that, but that is how most of the outsiders see Mother Ganga. They see Mother Ganga as a sin purifying machine. They'll go and I want to take bath in the Gangotri. I want to take bath in Prayagraj. Why? All my sinful reactions will go away within a span of a second. Of course, it will not happen like that. First important thing that we have to note is that according to the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, by just taking bath in the Ganga once, our sinful reactions will not go away. Will not go away. I'm highlighting that. Why? Because it is discussed in the Srimad Bhagavatam right in the beginning. In 1:1:15, in the 15th verse of the first chapter of the first canto, the sages of Naimisharanya, when they are discussing with Suta Goswami, they say, Yat pada samshrayaha Suta munaya prashamayanaha sadyo punanti upasprishtaha svardhunyaponu sevaya. Here they address Ganga as Svardhuni. Svardhuni means one who flows continuously. Just see, Mother Ganga, many places she is addressed like this with these kinds of names only, right? So they say that Mother Ganga Anusevaya eva punanti. Anusevaya means what? One who takes bath continuously for a long, elongated period of time, prolonged period of time, only then he will be absolved of sinful reactions. Mother Ganga will not absolve one of sinful reactions just by taking bath once. This is the pramana of Srimad Bhagavatam. Anusevaya punanti, svardhuni punanti. Svardhuni means Mother Ganga. But on the other hand, they compare this mercy of Mother Ganga to the mercy that can come from a pure devotee. Yat pada samshrayaha suta munayaha prashamayanaha, they say. That great devotees who have completely taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yat pada samshrayaha. Ashraya means to take shelter. Samshraya means samyaktaya ashrayam yaha grinhati saha samshrayaha. Means he has taken complete shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sadhyaha punanti. Sadhyaha means immediately can absolve one of sinful reactions. Right? So for great devotees, they have that power to absolve one of sinful reactions even by coming in touch with them just once. Therefore, lava matra sango sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hai. So lava is said to be 1/12 of a second. Right? But anyway, so our mood of worshipping Mother Ganga is not necessarily of absolving one of sinful reactions. The recently concluded Kumbh Mela crores and crores and people, crores and crores of people want to go there. Why? Just because they, of course, it's good that they have that faith in Mother Ganga, everything. But a Vaishnava's perspective is not necessarily one of getting rid of sinful reactions, because that is just a byproduct for Vaishnavas. We don't bother about getting rid of sinful reactions. We just are bothered about worshipping Krishna with a pure intent and with a pure motive. When this is happening, that Krishna will fulfill all our desires, and Krishna will make sure that our sinful reactions are taken care of. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja ahantva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami. Krishna has given that assurance in many verses of the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. So we don't need to bother about getting our sinful reactions cleansed and everything. And even when we go to the holy places of pilgrimage, where Mother Ganga flows or where Mother Yamuna flows, it is not with the necessary intention of getting rid of sinful reactions, or not just for taking bath over there, right? Even King Kulashekara in his Mukundamala Stotra, he says, Tirthanam avagahanani cha gajasnanam yatpadam vina vina yatpada dvandvam bhoruha samsrutim vijayate devassa narayanaha. One who goes simply to take bath in the holy places of pilgrimage is as good as an elephant, he says. Elephant which takes its bath. We have seen in the 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, or we will see very soon, because it's the 5th canto, how in the beginning Parikshit Maharaj compares these other processes of cleansing one's sinful reactions to an elephant taking its bath. Because an elephant, it's little foolish. It has a very big akara. It has a very big form, but it's not very mentally developed. So it takes a very good bath in the river, but as soon as it comes out, it pours mud all over its body. So it is like that. If we simply go to take bath in these places of pilgrimage, we should understand that it is like an elephant taking bath. King Kulashekara says that in Mukundamala Stuta, and Bhagavatam also says the same thing. तीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हिचित् जनेषु अभिज्ञेषु स एव गोखरः. 11th canto says, यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुणपेत्री धातुके स्वधि कलत्रादिषु भूम इज्जदिहि यतीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हिचित् janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokharaha. Such a person should be compared to a cow or an ass. Go means cow, kharaha means ass. A person who simply goes to the places of pilgrimage for the purpose of taking bath over there, and because he will get rid of sinful reactions, come back and again commit sinful activities, again he will go. It's like a never-ending cycle, and there is no tangible change in his lifestyle at all. So why should he go to take bath at all over there? In fact, it is explained that tirthi kurvanti tirthani in the first canto itself, when the Pandavas meet Vidura, when Vidura comes back from his Tirtha Yatra, when Yudhishthir Maharaj is talking with Vidura, he says, Bhavad Vidha Bhagavataha Tirtha Bhutaha Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabhrita. You see, great devotees like you, pure devotees like you actually sanctify even the pure places of pilgrimage. Why? Because all these mundane personalities, they go and dump their sins in these rivers and the holy places of pilgrimage. And it is devotees like you who go to the same holy places, who go on Tirtha Yatra, and because of your purity, because of the purity of carrying the Lord within your hearts, you purify even the holy places of pilgrimage. Like that Vidura, Yudhishthir Maharaj says to Vidura, right? So that is the intention of going to any yatra also for Vaishnavas, right? We don't go to simply take bath in these holy places of pilgrimage and to take bath in Ganga or the Prayagraj or Kumbh Mela. We don't go with that intention at all. In fact, this Kumbh Mela, although it created such a big news in the outside world, for devotees it was not a big thing at all. Right? Of course, many of us might have gone. It is very good that we took bath over there, but I'm sure none of us went there to simply take bath. Right? We actually went there to help ISKCON run its kitchen, to help the devotees do their services over there. And of course, along with that, if there was also the intention of taking bath, then it is fine. Even when we go to the holy places, otherwise, when we go on yatra, we go with devotees so that we can hear Krishna Katha in the association of the devotees in the holy dham. For example, if we go to Naimisharanya, we should go with devotees so that we can hear the same Srimad Bhagavatam that was spoken by Suta Goswami in Suta Gaddi of Naimisharanya to the sages of Naimisharanya, to Shaunakadi Rishis. So similarly, we go to the other places of pilgrimage only for the purpose of hearing Krishna Katha in the association of devotees. So I'll just say one last thing and conclude over here. It's almost time. So Srila Prabhupada says that one goes to the holy places of pilgrimage, not necessarily for taking bath over there, but to hear from the devotees who reside over there, Krishna Katha. He says like that. But we realize that even this option that Srila Prabhupada has given us, it's not very easy to follow. Because how do we recognize devotees that actually stay there, whether they are in the proper parampara or not, whether they are pure or not, or whether they speak the right philosophy or not? So the only option that is left with us is actually going with our own devotees, with whom we have, in whom we have complete faith, to these holy places and hearing from them only, and if possible, speaking to them, right? And hearing from them, speaking to them, and along with that, do all the other activities like taking bath and taking prasadam, everything. We do that, and we will return to our places, our own places, right? So that is the only intention with which we go to these such holy places. So this verse that we just read, these three verses actually talk about the descent of Mother Ganga. We have seen how Mother Ganga actually washed the lotus feet of Vamanadev, and first it descended to Dhruvaloka, which is even above all the 14 planetary systems. Then it descended to Mount Meru. Of course, before that, it was taken from Dhruvaloka in many airplanes that we saw, and then finally descended to Mount Meru. And from Mount Meru, it flew in 4 different directions. It flowed in 4 different directions. Chakshu and Sita, they divided into Chakshu and Sita in the eastern and southern, eastern and western directions. In the northern direction, we just read, it divides itself into Bhadra. It goes into the Bhadra, it divides into the Bhadra river and flows. And in the southern direction, it appears as Alakananda and finally comes into this world. And therefore, Mother Ganga's position is very sacred. And all Vaishnavas see Mother Ganga as the jnana aspect of pure devotional service. And we pray to Mother Ganga that as your flow is uninterrupted towards Krishna, let our consciousness also be drawn towards Madhupati, who is the Lord of the Madhus, who is the Lord of the Yadus, who is Lord Krishna. Let our consciousness be drawn towards Krishna in such an uninterrupted manner. So I conclude over here. Thank you very much. I feel quite embarrassed to speak in this assembly because almost everybody over here is senior to me in age as well as in Vishnu consciousness. So I mostly avoid, but today I had to speak. So I seek forgiveness if I've spoken anything too forceful or anything wrong. So I thank everybody for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a wonderful flow of nectar, like how you are describing that honey flows very nicely from one vessel to another vessel. So it was a continuous flow. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving deeper aspects of the glories of Mother Ganga and how Vaishnava should actually be approaching Mother Ganga with that mood of reverence and getting jnana from the perspective of bhakti. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was very nice class, and I request devotees to unmute the line and share the questions or comments or reflections, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam. Prabhu, you said Ganga of Navadvipa is considered as Yamuna. Why is it, Prabhu? Because
so that is esoteric understanding. Esoteric means just the view of Vaishnavas. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna. Krishna, when he stays in Vrindavan, he has the Yamuna flowing in Vrindavan, so he performs many of his pastimes in Yamuna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being non-different from Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Navadvip, and therefore, although he performed all his pastimes in Mother Ganga, in many of his pastimes in the bank of Mother Ganga, because Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna and Srimati Radharani, so Vaishnavas see, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, especially restricted to Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they see Ganga as Yamuna, like that. That's like I was saying that Parikshit Maharaj, when he sat on the bank of Ganga to hear Bhagavatam, some of the acharyas like Chakravarti Thakur, they comment that it is actually the Yamuna. Although the verse says Ganga only, but this is a Vaishnava's perspective. A Vaishnava's perspective, he sees everything in relation to the parampara. So it is like that. It's a kind of esoteric understanding.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranams, Prasannatma here. So wonderful. Very nicely, you brought out so many aspects of Mother Ganges. In fact, when I was listening, there's this thing about the knowledge aspect that you are touching on. It was very nice to hear. It was very, it's revealing for me in the sense that, like you mentioned it later also, that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, in his earlier days, he is there in the Ganges and then sitting on that rock, and then the Hare Krishna mantra gets revealed to him. So that was mentioned there. I used to think, how is this possible and all that? And now I'm able to connect that with respect to the knowledge aspect that is coming in, so thank you so much. And I was thinking of that example when you were talking about knowledge. And then anyway, you very wonderfully mentioned it. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Actually, it didn't strike me also that time when I was saying, but now that you said, it is striking me. Yeah, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavad Pranams. Thanks for the beautiful class, Prabhu. What exactly you mean esoteric, Prabhu?
Esoteric means high kind of rasa, what do you say, mellows, or a higher understanding.
Ecstasy.
I don't know how to translate that. We may see the dictionary meaning, but it is kind of a special, a higher level understanding of some topic that our acharyas give. Like that, you can say.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, any other comments, questions, reflections? Final question, comment? Okay. In Prabhuji, there are no questions. Once again, thank you very much for your wonderful class and giving the association. We will look forward to hearing more from you regularly, Prabhu. Thank you. We'll end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam. Kalpatarupyasya Kripasindho Geyavachan. Pachitanam Bhavatebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Granthar Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.